Hey, everybody. Welcome back to a SubTech Tuesday Live. I'm your co-founder and chairman of SubTech, Chris George. And today, we don't have a no excuses, but we're here to talk about our 2021 pitch competition, tell you a little bit about the first round, tell you some of the things that we might have learned from that first round. We actually have a few folks that were a part of that first round that are going to give you some tips and tricks and things that might have learned that can help you when going into the second round. We've also got our great friends from Pitney Bowes, and we got Mike McComb, who's with us here today. And I want to first introduce him. Mike, thanks so much for jumping on.
Chris, thanks a lot. I appreciate it.
Of course. One, I want to thank you for your support to SubTA. I want to thank you for being part of this pitch competition. It's been super exciting. This is the first time we did it this way, so it feels like a whole 6-month sort of campaign, which is really, really cool, and that's evolved a ton. So again, thank you for your support and being part of the pitch. Mike, before we get into some other questions, tell us quickly about Pitney Bowes for those that might not be familiar, some of the services you provide in that.
Yeah, thanks, Chris. I appreciate it. So I'm with Pitney Bowes Global E-commerce, which is a division of Pitney Bowes. We're the fastest growing division of Pitney Bowes. We really help to support e-commerce brands when they're doing fulfillment, if they have parcel delivery, parcel returns, cross-border. We've got some customized solutions that really take a lot from data science and then doing consultative surveys with brands as well as consumers to figure out what's going on. So we're just trying to add a lot more value and help out all the people who are trying to sell, online.
Yeah, and I know that you are sort of like a full scope when it comes to operations and fulfillment, right? Because the shipping, it's the fulfillment, it's sort of everything. And I know that the cross-border stuff is super important to help brands go internationally, right? So that could be tremendous for a lot of brands. And I know you've worked with several subscription brands in the past, some that are well known. Tell me a little bit more about how you support subscription brands and what makes Pitney Bowes so good at what they do.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, some of the brands on the subscription side, we're doing the kitting, the full fulfillment of that, and then we do the delivery. And if there is a return, we can help to schedule that back. Certainly, as you mentioned, people are trying to sell internationally, so we do cross-border as well. And then we offer a lot of tools, with either our warehouse management system that gives the brand the experience to figure out what's going on behind the scenes, or we've got customized tracking through our Consumer Connect platform that makes it appear all the tracking. It doesn't say Pitney Bowes, it shows the brand. It's got the logo and it allows, so hey, you like the subscription box, do you want to buy something else? So on the post-purchase, we're allowing that brand to really extend their sales.
Yeah, and that makes the customer experience better too, right? The post-purchase customer experience. Yeah, that's great.
Absolutely. Builds a brand loyalty, absolutely.
So one thing that I was really intrigued about was this poll and survey you've been doing with 2,000 plus subscription companies, and you've probably pulled a lot of data and insight there that could be super valuable. Can we talk about that a little bit and some of the data you pulled and
absolutely
what you're seeing in the subscription space?
Yeah, and we work with a company called Morning Consult that does a lot of the surveys. We're tracking with consumers, brands, companies, and really trying to put a lot together. I think what we saw during COVID was really unprecedented, and people can go to Pitney Bowes Box Poll. We publish the information or republish it usually every other week, and so it's very fresh, relevant information. We've really uncovered a lot of great data specific to subscription boxes. I mean, I'd love to share a little bit with you on that. Yeah, so we looked at of all the people all of the folks that we were able to survey, 27% overall, 27% of people got into a subscription within the previous 12 months. And that's pretty big. But, as you kind of break it down, and we've broken it down by age and group categories, et cetera. But you look at also high income earners, that number is much higher. Actually, the people who belong to subscription boxes, you're looking at about 44% of high income earners who belong to at least a subscription. Within the subscription industry, I think, it's that longevity. How many people can you keep? How long can you keep them? It's pretty interesting. As we looked at last year during the survey, over the previous 12 months, you had 52% of the subscribers, they either kept their boxes, that was 30%, or they added to it. So they added another one, that was another 22%. So, what we found, there was about 19% of the people that said, well, we reduced the number of boxes that we have or subscription that we have. And then, looking at I think this is no surprise to anybody. One of the top segments of last year. It was the household goods, personal care type segment. I can imagine how many people were selling, hand sanitizer, soap, things like that. So you may have had a record sales last year if that was the space. And another thing we looked at though is, okay, so if you had to give up a subscription, what would it be? What would you give up? And so, outside of like your Netflix and things like that, what did consumers tell us? 50% of them, the number one that they would give up was meal preparation, meal kits.
Interesting. Yeah.
Now, what we found fascinating though is, where did you have maybe like a better way to retain the clients? And you could kind of think about it as, well, the staying power. So twice the staying power, 3 categories: pet supplies, 24%, household supplies, 28%, and then apparel and footwear, 27%. I would actually think that as we get maybe through, the household supplies, maybe some people, they've also it's so easy to order. And now that, you remember going into stores, you had stockouts of everything. Yep. So it's, we've probably made it easier. I think you've got some people, it's no turning back. It's just, and many of the people listening, I think they've got such a great story to tell on their boxes that there's no turning back.
Well, the household goods and the pet supplies, you're saying those people, they were keeping those subscriptions, right? And I think the biggest reason is that they're like replenishment items. So if you've got dog food coming every month, like you're not going to cancel it probably because you want the dog food to come. And same thing with the household goods, like you need certain things every month. Right. And the meal preps, like the HelloFreshes, the Blue Aprons, the thing about those businesses in general is there's huge churn until it becomes a lifestyle for the consumer, right? So I've actually seen some of their data and talked to some folks at those types of businesses, and they have a huge churn in the first month, and then they get this percentage of lifetimers, like people that I can't eat dinner if this doesn't show up, right? So I think that's probably where you saw where they would give that up for the sake. There's a little bit of a premium. You can go to a grocery store. You've got Instacart that's delivering food. There's a lot of options, right? And also too, not everybody, people are busy, right? We're in this convenience world. We don't want to necessarily cook every night. So I think if the cadence makes sense, it probably helps. But that data you're saying sort of supports, I think, the general hypothesis, which is a good thing.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
absolutely.
For sure. What was some other things you saw in there?
We look at sort of that need, as you mentioned, you've got what is it that you're just replenishing versus maybe what's curated. I think, and we also try to break that out quite a bit. And we look at, there's so many different sort of double digits. Hey, these are the type of boxes that people had, and you're right on the food and beverage. And I think because of the competition, as well as maybe, the restaurants that weren't open and people still wanted a very nice experience. You found that about 13% of the total boxes that or the share of the wallet, fell into the food and beverage. Personal care and beauty, though, it matched up 13%. And what I think what a lot of people, at least anecdotally, are saying is, well, now as we're starting to meet in person, as the masks are coming off, hey, lipstick, teeth whitening, things like that are really starting to take off. I can't wait to see perhaps over the next trailing things, the responses, does that share of wallet increase? The pet supplies is about 11% of the share of wallet. Household supplies about 11%. I think the household supplies may continue to drop as things open up. 9% on footwear and apparel. Fitness, this I think is interesting. I think you've got 7% of the share of the wallet is fitness. There is also this thought, COVID-19 wasn't just sort of a pandemic, but that may have been the pounds that we've put on. So, maybe folks are going to really continue on, and as gyms open up as well, and sort of that convenience factor, some of the things that you can subscribe to, maybe getting more outfits. And if you're certainly able to go into the gym more frequently, you need more outfits, right? Yeah. So, the toys and hobbies were about 6% of the share of wallet. Again, how much of the question is, was it because you're forced with your kids being home, you needed something to do? Does that start to wane a bit? Not really sure. Sporting goods represent 4%. What was interesting, though, in a separate poll where we looked at how much will you spend summer over summer, sporting goods happen to be one of the top increases. So what people expected to spend. So, maybe they're buying it. Is it one time, or is it now that you're able to really go out more freely? Will you continue to buy that type of product? Yeah. And I think that, office supplies at 4%, even in a hybrid office where people get to work from home at least a few days a week, I would expect that would keep up, but we'd certainly love to hear what the consumers have to say about that as well.
One thing, and before we go on, one thing that you bring up that's really important, I think everybody listening should understand, is Mike kept talking about share of wallet. And so a lot of times you're starting a brand and you're thinking about who your competitors are of just the businesses that you're competing against. Meaning if you were a beauty business, let's say you had a beauty subscription, you think your competitors are just another beauty subscription. But the reality of it is you are competing against share of wallet, which means you're competing against the digital subscriptions. You're competing at the pet subscriptions. You're competing. And so it's very important that you're thinking about that and giving them an experience that makes you think about your brand as like having to be part of that share of wallet, and then not being the top 2 or 3 that you're going to cancel when they start thinking about saving on their share of wallet. So, Mike, that was some really, really good insight, and I appreciate that a ton. One of the things that we wanted to talk about in the show was some tips and tricks from some of the guests that were on the first round of pitches. Before we bring them on, Mike, tell us a little bit about your thoughts of the first round. How did it go? I know we had 10 great companies that pitched. What were your thoughts on everything?
And my colleague Shady got to be part of the live judging, and I think he did a great job. I watched it, and then I got to watch the replay again as I was prepping for this. So first and foremost, really strong stories, right? And even the big business cases that people put together, and you think about. They were, I think, people who put together their pitches very well rehearsed. They were very well prepared. I think what our impressions at Pitney Bowes also were that the amount of effort that people started these businesses, many of them as the pandemic was beginning in the early phases, and you heard about the bootstrapping that people did. It was exceptionally impressive, to be honest. And then I would say that. Finally, the folks also gave us rich information for their background. Why did they start the business? What was it that they did? And sort of, the success of this is what we're building. Here's what we started and here's where we're going. And so you could see that they were exceptionally thoughtful on this is the plan. Like it's not just I'm hoping and I'm praying, but this is my plan.
Love it. Appreciate that a ton. And Mike, you and your team will be at SubSummit this year. So folks that are going to be there in September, please feel free to make sure you check them out and check out their booth. They work with some really big brands. Mike, why don't you just take a quick second, name some of the brands that you work with, because I know that you've got a large effect on their operations.
Yeah, and I really appreciate that. We do work with a lot of different brands, a lot of people who are, maybe that were doing the full fulfillment for like the Beard Club and, getting their deliveries done as well. We work with brands like Quip in the apparel space, the Fabletics of the world, FabFitFun. And then in the food industry, treats. So we work with a whole bunch of companies, and we love to work with many more as well. I mean, we love the space. It's why we love doing this as well.
Amazing. Thanks a ton, Mike. So real quick, Mike, we're going to have you jump off the screen, and we're going to bring in 2 of the brands, 2 of the entrepreneurs that pitched at round 1. And love to welcome John Wanderous from Wild Alaskan Seafood Box and Susan Black from Wowzitude. John and Susan, thanks so much for jumping on.
Thanks, Chris.
My pleasure.
I appreciate it a ton. You guys had amazing pitches, and thank you so much for being grateful to jump on and give advice to others that are going to be jumping on and being part of the round 2. So real quickly, John, tell everybody about your box, and then Susan, go right there after.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah. So Wild Alaskan Seafood Box is our subscription box for our business. And, we started it just over a year ago now. And what we do is we source wild-caught seafood directly from Alaskan processors and Alaskan fishermen. And we ship nationwide now, right to people's homes, right to people's doors. More than seafood, we provide an incredible experience, the story, the cooking, truly trying to create and bring to the consumer everything you need, to enjoy seafood and to constantly learn too. So that's where we are and constantly evolving.
Amazing. And Susan, tell us about Wowzitude.
So Wowzitude actually came about as a result of COVID, listening to our friends there. And it's a subscription service for seniors. It gets them out of social isolation, and it brings them all around the world live to 52 different cities. And each week we take them to a new place and we engage with both the host and the guide. And it really provides a great catalyst for conversation and connection. And again, every week it's a new destination.
I love it.
Awesome.
That's amazing. So you guys did you guys were part of the first round. There was 10 companies in total. You were 2 of the companies. Was that the first time you guys had pitched in a pitch competition for both of you, or no?
Yeah.
Yeah, for you, John.
For
How
me,
about you?
yeah.
Both of you. Okay, so it's your first time. So I'm sure there's a little bit of nervousness or first time jitters. Tell me, and John, maybe if you could start. Tell me what are some of the things you did to prepare for the pitch. Did you watch videos? Did you do some research? Tell me what you did.
Yeah, it was really funny because I've had a couple experiences where I've had connections with people that have been involved in venture-backed companies or in venture firms that work for venture capital firms. So I've always been interested in talking to them. And when you first start a business, you can't help but not think about that and people growing up watching Shark Tank. But we obviously decided not to go that route. And this was an incredible opportunity, knowing that this was for a prize. But yeah, I did a ton of research. I definitely watched all of the resources that you guys gave us from previous pitches. I watched those multiple times. I spent a lot of time on the road doing events in town. So spent a lot of time on the road listening to that stuff. But again, one of the biggest things that really helped me was doing that pitch in person. I did it, in front of my iPad and filmed it, probably 30, 40 times and, did it to my girlfriend. And so anything just to kind of get that flow and being able to see yourself and, how that all feels. But it was an incredible experience.
Yeah, I know you have was it 3 minutes? I forgot how long it was the pitch. I think it was like 3 minutes. So it's a tight, it flies by, right? Like before you know it.
And it's really cool, doing your first one and then going through and editing that and, listening to it so many times because, I think my first one was about 4.5, almost 5 minutes, but then condensing that and making sure that you get, all of that material and information that needs to be in there and really paying attention to your guys's scorecard and all that criteria. That really helped me out a lot of, going through and trying to get it in that 3-minute range. And so it was pretty awesome.
How about for you, Susan? What do you think was some of the things you did to prepare?
Yeah, I agree. I think the 3-minute range was the most challenging. And I would agree. I think that the super, super helpful was each of the criteria and making sure that each thing that we mentioned really hit each one. And the practice was essential. That morning, my partner and I went over it. You said 30 times. I think we did about 60 times. Finally, I was like memorizing it. But it was really culling it down. I mean, we started off about 6 or 7 minutes, which I thought was 3 minutes. And then really 3 minutes goes by very quickly. But the combination of 3 minutes and hitting each of the 5 points and speaking slowly and clearly so you don't rush through it is really the secret sauce. That's really the 3 things you have to look at.
Well, I think, at a minimum, practice of this is great, right? Because there's these pitches that happen all the time. And I know of several entrepreneurs that legitimately can win these several times. And it could be a big benefit to getting that extra funding for your business, right? So give everybody, we'll say, your number 1 tip. So we know rehearsing it multiple times. What would you say is the number 1 tip? Was it a half hour before, sort of relaxing? What was you think was something that really you think might have helped you get up there without the jitters and sort of pitch your best pitch?
Yeah. Want me to start?
Yeah, sure.
Yeah. So I would say number 1 for anybody listening that's thinking about doing the second round, just do it. Just absolutely do it for what it could create and what you can learn as you go down, this rabbit hole of, look, we're able to be on this live video right now, which is incredible. A month ago, didn't really think this was going to happen. But yeah, I would say, do whatever you got to do to be comfortable. I think the number 1 tip, for me was being able to film myself and watch myself. I'm ever since I was little, from sports or other, careers, whatever it might be, I've always been a big believer in game tape. And that always helps me, just, seeing if I feel nervous, but I don't look nervous on the screen. That always helps me calm down a little bit. Or just seeing how I present myself, my hands, all my nonverbals, and just really being able to see that on the screen. I think it makes you feel better after you do that so many times, and you just see that nice flow.
Amazing. Susan, your number one
well,
tip.
Again, I know we've talked about practice, but I think that to do it, and here's the funny part, do it with a smile. So enjoy what you're doing. I mean, it shouldn't be an onerous thing when you're doing it. And part of it is exactly, the practice part. Do it so that you're comfortable enough that you can enjoy it and have fun. Because when you have fun, it comes across on screen. And this can be a little intimidating because it's you and the camera. And as you saw, I was sliding around a little bit in the beginning to get into the frame. So you want to make sure that you're having fun, you're smiling, you're laughing. And if you flub it a little bit or something goes, just go with it. It's not a big deal to do that, but certainly the practice will help you enjoy yourself.
I love it. Again, thank you guys both so much. I'm going to bring Mike back in. Mike's going to tell us a little bit more about some dates coming up for the second round. So, and then also give us some of his tips. I know he had some thoughts. So, Mike, would you come back in here real quick? Hey, Mike.
Great, thank you.
So, I know you had some thoughts around a couple things regarding round 2. So, go ahead and tell us a little bit about that.
Yeah, well, we're looking forward to attending in person as well, and I know a lot of people will be virtual. And I think the pitch is the 22nd, right? July 22nd.
Yeah, July 22nd, correct. Is the pitch. Yeah,
and then
round 2.
And then we get into to Dallas, and we've got some thoughts on what I love what you said, John and Susan as well, and being rehearsed and recording and having that game tape. And you all have some great, not only stories, but your boxes as well, or your subscriptions as well. I would say that to others who are thinking about what to do, make sure that they can tell a story. Why is it different? What's sustainable about what they're trying to offer? How is it going to be a long-term viable business model? Who are the people behind the scenes as well, who are part of the partnerships or the businesses, the alliances, the people that also make the magic happen in addition to yourselves? And then what about the details? What's the pricing model look like? What's the subscriber base? How are you going to grow that? But yeah, those are some thoughts on how to go forward. But Chris, is there something else that I can mention about Dallas?
Yeah, for sure.
Well, great. John and Susan, not only have you been helpful to tell others, and again, you have a very viable business, I think, but want to let you know that you are finalists. So thank you for attending. You will be participating in Dallas, live and in person. You'll be flown out to Dallas for that, with your opportunity to win. I think there's $20,000 in cash and prizes available to winners. So John and Susan, congratulations.
Yep.
Look forward to seeing you in Dallas.
Thank you so much. This is incredible. I know that both of us as entrepreneurs, this is just huge. And also having the validation from both of your organizations is amazing.
Yeah, you know what? I want to congratulate you guys. It's truly awesome. Dallas is going to be super fun. You guys are going to be flown out to Dallas. The Pitney Bowes team has got some special things set up as well. We've got a $10,000 check that's up for grabs, as well as $10,000 in other prizes that come with services. So congratulations to you both. For those of you watching, we are going to be doing round 2, like Mike said, on July 22nd. Where they'll be doing 10 more pitches, and we'll be picking 2 more individuals to join both Susan and John in Dallas, which is super exciting, and that's on September 22nd. You do have until June 26th to enter, so we've got a bunch of entries. Make sure these next 4 days, make sure you put in your entry. We do a prep call. I think that was super helpful for you, John and Susan, right, where we kind of give you
definitely
some thoughts around pitching. Mike, I want to thank you again as a great support to the Pitney Bowes team. It's been truly special. Love having you guys be part of this, and you guys are really helping make this whole event awesome. So thank you a ton for that. In August, we will announce, they don't have the date, but in August, we'll announce the next 2 finalists that will be joining John and Susan But John and Susan, you guys will be on stage, so you should go to
Wow.
YouTube and watch the pitches from the last few years. You can get some thoughts. I think you get 5 minutes instead of 3 at the live event. But that's live, so that's super cool. Again, Mike, thank you so much. John, Susan, you guys have been truly amazing. Thanks for your time and all your support to SubTalk, and I look forward to seeing everybody at the second round, which will be on July 22nd. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. This is a wow moment. Thank you.
Have a great week. Go celebrate.
Thank you.